July 24th, 2021. Thought I'd try to get a garden update in. Got a pineapple growing out front, both sides. A few tomato plants I put in. Volunteer watermelon. See how that does. Got a few celebrity tomatoes right up front. Wasn't impressed last year. Still not impressed. A few weeds worked a little on. Still haven't got them all quite out of there. Most of them's been kept out of this side. Planted a few hot peppers up front finally. Pear tomatoes, they're not doing too well up here for some reason. Hopefully they'll be taking off. Turmeric finally got planted and came up. Mushmelons I had to replant. They are up and growing. Got a few weeds to get rid of here. Strawberry barrel is still doing somewhat well. The irrigation still isn't hooked up, but hasn't been on due to all the rain we've had. Tomatoes are finally blooming quite nicely. They've been slow taking off this year due to all the cold, I believe. Some planted just a little later, still growing quite slow. Squash hasn't been doing too well either this year. I did pick a nice zucchini off this one. Got a small one there that needs picked. Carrots are doing quite well due to all the rain we've been having. A few watermelons starting to vine. This one as well. Got to move this raspberry back over to the fence. Still have not got that done. Thought I seen cantaloupe the other day. I was gonna show yous. Not seeing it today though. Oh, here it is. First one setting on. Volunteer yard long beans. Looks like the grandkids can snack on those. Some more tomatoes along here. These are the delicious tomato. A couple of earlier ones there. They don't seem to be setting tomatoes too quick, but should start. Don't have a tag out here yet for these. They're setting tomatoes a little quicker. They're, I believe, in the beefsteak family. Definitely something I believe I'll be planting again. Not growing large, but setting a lot of tomatoes. Even that poor little thing on that side has set a lot. Some Rutgers over here. These have actually taken off. There's a tomato in there, a couple of tomatoes in there. Sorry about that. A few more sitting on up here. They're setting in well. The rabbit looks like has visited again last night. It is a constant. There is 2 plants left there, and looks like 4 only left here. Not sure what it's going to take to keep him out, but going to have to start making some traps or something. All this has been strawed along here. Definitely going to have to get in here and try to get some weeds out. I've began a little bit, but this is asparagus and some wild strawberries, and it is definitely difficult to keep the weeds out of that area. Red raspberries have started producing again. Be letting the grandkids find those. Okra ought to be blooming any time now. Looks like there is a bloom starting to set. So hopefully soon we'll be having okra. Got to get some weeds out of here and get this strawed. I've already started here. Got a volunteer squash here. This is a mix between a yellow squash and a zucchini, and it comes back year after year so far and does very nice. Squash beetle trying to hide right here, squash bug. Gotta get out and check those. Eggplants are starting to set on. Quite a few white ones. They, for some reason, always do better. Planted beets here. Got a nice turnip crop going. Few weeds, not many. These tomatoes are whoppers. Not the best looking plants or best looking tomatoes, but they are producing a few smaller somewhat tomatoes. Not understanding why everybody likes them. The old Rutgers normally still produce better. We'll see how the year progresses. Got a bad tomato here. Something's been eating on. Of course, one of the few ripe ones. I forget the name of this one. It's a beefsteak. It's doing fairly well. Definitely do like this one. I've got more in the back. I'll get the name when we're back there. Peas done pretty good. They were not thick enough to produce very many. Have replanted and a few of them's coming up. Looks to be nibbled on by some bugs of some kind. But if the weather stays cold as it has been, they will probably do quite well. I've got 2 or 3 Better Boy tomato plants. They're doing better this year than I've ever had them do. Apparently they like the cooler temperatures. Possibly the rabbit or a squirrel. First time I've ever had a tomato eaten in my garden. Probably the rabbit, I'm guessing. This is beef heart. This is one of the better producing tomatoes that I have. I believe they have, this one anyway, is slightly crossed with another tomato. I might be wrong. It has got a more rounded look, but still got a little bit of the end. These can't remember the name. Label is beefsteak. Label's almost faded. Don't have a printout of it yet. A few walking onions. This is the mortgage lifter, doing quite well. They do have volunteer corn in them, and the corn is stunting them quite a bit. As soon as it gets picked, I will cut the ears out and give them a dose of fertilizer. This is what they normally would look like here. Same thing. Let me remove this leaf. And there are the tomatoes setting on. Lots of nice tomatoes. This one has a few or less. Definitely going to grow these from now on. This is a younger one. Over here's my rare tomato. Only one I've got growing. I believe it was dug up last year and stayed inside. So it's kind of a small viney mess for being indoors. Setting lots of nice protected tomatoes. Got those nice long thorns on the husks. Replanted some squash along here. This was the only ones that came up. They're doing quite nice. A few more weeds over here. Daughter Kaylin has been spraying the fruit trees due to all the bad weather. We have got some mold, but many of the peaches look like they'll be ripening soon. Several trees are absolutely loaded. Some have only a few. May have to brace up a few branches. See if I can get under here. Got to get some weeds pulled and some straw back in this corner. A few weeds in the strawberry patch here, but it's not looking too bad. Some eggplants over here. The flea beetles have been on them eating. Onions, I was hoping for larger ones, but they ripened early. Hopefully the grandkids can get them pulled for me. The youngest likes to do that. Some bell peppers finally setting on. Nice size ones. Few on several plants. Lettuce is going to seed. I'll let several of those reseed themselves and then take them out. Walking onions need to be replanted. Rabbit likes to hide down in this area most of the time. He's finally started leaving most of the bell peppers alone. Looks like I've actually got some ripe cherry tomatoes in this area. I'll let the kids get a hold of those. Got to reset the traps soon. And finally have pole beans climbing up. They are literally covered in blooms as well as some young beans. So hopefully I will be soon picking beans. This looks like, of course, a bean that the rabbit has probably eaten the bottom off of. So still battling him on the, or it on the beans. One bean there and there to pick. But other than that, they are finally up and starting to produce. So a few volunteer tomatoes I left here. They started producing huge amounts of tomatoes, so I wasn't going to pass that opportunity. Bell peppers are growing real nice in this area as well, along as much more lettuce going to seed on this side. These peppers are starting to put some on. A few cherry tomatoes this direction. They're late and just taking off. This one is a yellow variety. Basil has just started coming up. It is really late on everything that's volunteer. A few more tomatoes hiding in here. There's another basil there. That tomato had a bug eating it or something. This one's doing quite nice. Should be a red one. Another Concord grapevine that I put in. Looks like there's a weed growing on the label. The rabbit has, of course, been eating it. So there we go. Grapevines. Many of them are, oh, this one's actually ripening. Grandkids will love that. I'm going to get them sprayed, but didn't do it. I'll have to try tomorrow. Let them eat some today. Watermelon. This one's finally finding and blooming. Volunteer bean. It's got one on it. So yeah, yes, hopefully very soon be picking and selling beans. These here were hiding in the strawberries, so they're doing nice. They came up slower and later, but been hidden from the rabbit. Goji berries are blooming again this year. I've never had a berry produce on these, but was over at a neighbor's and he'd gotten goji berry plant off of me, and his produces. And I tried one, and one of the seemingly nastiest fruits I've eaten. So those will not possibly stick around in the garden. But we'll leave them till fall to let them try and find out. Quite a nice bunch of grapes on this vine. The little black spots are a tiny bit of fungus trying to start. A little shot of spray should stop that. I don't like using spray, but you have to get a crop sometimes. Kids have been eating a few grapes over here. They are slowly setting on the few that are on here. This was supposed to be a Thompson. It is not. I believe it's the same as one of the others. Pile of compost or mulch is still working down. Straw bale, have a tarp or two there. This is Beefmaster. This is the one I was talking about a few moments ago. It does excellent right here in this spot for some reason. This is the second year it's been here. A lot more setting on. Tomatillo here. But it's doing quite well. I've been kind of weeding back here. Still not got a whole lot planted. Sorry for the pause. I've sound like a bunch of squirrels cutting. I've got a grill I'm trying to tinker with to get going. Quite a lot of tomatillos slowly setting on. Another bunch of tomatoes back here, new ones. I believe these are orange ones, but I'm not positive. Got to get some weeding done here in the path. The potatoes, the youngest one, dug those. He enjoyed that. I have ginger growing here now. It's slowly multiplying. A few potatoes in here. Surprisingly, animals ain't got this side yet. There's one been dug and uncovered. This here, I believe, is the cilantro. No, parsley. And the cilantro is over there. It's went to seed already. I haven't got it replanted. A sweet potato. It grows in a pot, has been for a couple years, with a tomato that came up volunteer. I just set it there off the deck a couple days ago. Another ginger, as well as some more ginger back there, as well as other herbs. Another ginger still in a pot I haven't moved out. A few strawberries that needs to be need to find a home for. This one had just produced, and of course animals ate it. So, nice ramp going up to my shed. Collect all. Blackberry. It is blackberry season, of course. What's left of the blackberries. And I've got to get these, find a home for this plant one of these days soon. It is, of course, blooming. This berry produces at least twice a year. And of course, with it being so cold and rainy, it thinks it's either spring or fall again. It's not the only one confused. There's some kale. I was going to show, this is a Concord grape that I was going to move, but it had fruit on it. So I thought, well, I'll just leave this one. I put in the fence in. Still haven't bent the wire or cut it off on that end. And run the plant on up. And I believe I may leave this one at the end of this trellis to see what happens. The older Concord grape, fully loaded back here in the middle. And if I can find it, new blooms. So it's going to try to produce again, it seems. Not a fluke deal. There is some more right there trying to come out, and several more I can usually find up inside. It seems to have gotten bigger and fell over. There is one, if I can zoom in on it, right there, producing some small grapes. Another one right there. So quite unique year, it seems like. Of course, some onions going to seed. These are the red onions that I bought 2 years ago at Rural King because mine wasn't growing. Almost half hour long. I'm going to try to get off there here now. Oh, this is a plant. I can't remember the name of it. It's considered a weed. One of the most nutritional plants. Grandkids' stick they're playing with. Quite unique. I like the looks of them as well. Grandkids will stop and munch on it quite often. Cucumbers. Finally have my first cucumber setting on right here. See how the cucumbers do this year. They're not doing too well, growing slow, but they are finally growing. Radishes, of course, to mask the smell, to keep the insects away. But they are growing. A few wild strawberries. New post just got in. Grandkids helped. Another one I was going to put in, but due to the size, talked myself out of it the other day. Volunteer watermelon, I believe. Oldest grandson weeded around it for me. I'll have to get some mulch down. Yard-long beans just now starting to bloom and even produce. So as long as the rabbit stays out of them, those will be picked in a few days. volunteer turnips. Metal walkway is doing quite nice. Had several inches of rain the other day, and it came up within a ½ inch of the grate system, stayed underneath. So that worked well. We'll have to cut the drainage out by the woods a little deeper. I guess I should pause this and go to the west garden real quick. Video is going to get even longer. More peaches, and the sweet corn has began tassel. Was out here a couple of days ago. It was only half this size, so it has shot up a lot in the last 2, maybe 3 days. Planted a few tomato plants over here. Just threw them in off the porch. They have a few tomatoes on some of them. We'll see how they do in this area. Of course, got weeds to remove. This tomato's looking quite beautiful as far as the plant goes, and has lots of tomatoes. I just wish I knew what the name was. Bell peppers, I threw some in a little later. Most of them was in quite a while back. They're doing quite nice over here, a lot more space. This one will probably be breaking itself off, growing nicely, no peppers. This one produced a few peppers and knocked itself over. But all in all, definitely something to do with the extra plants that I had. Volunteer squash of some kind. It's, of course, not doing too well. But we'll just see how the extra plants do over here. Some just got planted not too long ago. Oh, and a few watermelons in the corn. So, rabbit, of course, got into it last night. This, if everything goes as planned, since nobody's been mowing it, is getting fences slowly put in place. This will hopefully be all the way to the end, a chicken pen right in the middle to make it easy to throw vegetables in, as well as double fenced for their protection. One more quick little update. This is the grandkids' garden. Very few weeds, plants. Something's gotten into those. But other than that, this is their first garden. Not doing too good, but they planted it late. They probably don't know they got a tomato. They couldn't come out here and see the garden this week due to the trees being sprayed, and they're not allowed out here when the trees are being sprayed. But lid is for when they plant something, they put their dirt on that, and that way they can put the dirt back in the hole without contaminating the mulch and bringing up weed seeds. But they're doing pretty good. I've been killing off some of the grass for them so they can expand if they want to. They need to get a little weeding done. But they haven't had a chance to plant too much due to it being late. So hopefully better chance next year they'll have a nice garden.